Welcome back, all you absolutely wonderful, fantastic people from around the world that came to my channel to watch yet another video. I truly do appreciate it. Thank you very much. So this video is going to be an answer to a question I received in a previous video, namely the video I did about how the depth of field is not dictated just strictly by the aperture. There's other elements that dictate that. The question came up, well, how does a teleconverter affect the depth of field for what you're shooting? Very, very good question. So according to Pentax, when you're using the HD 1.4 time teleconverter, it does not affect the depth of field. I thought, that's interesting, because you're magnifying the image, in a matter of speaking, by 1.4 times. So there should be something physically that will change the depth of field. So I decided I would just give this a shot and see, well, technically 2 shots, 1 crop, just to see, does it actually affect the depth of field or not? Is Pentax 100% being truthful, or is it just very minuscule, right? What are the ins and outs of this whole thing? So what I did was I set up the camera. I shot 2 different scenes with something in the foreground, something in the background, obviously, so you could see the depth of field. Took a full shot, and then I cropped that shot by 1.4 times, and then shot the same scene using the teleconverter, right? On a tripod, so it's the same thing. There are some slight variances. It is not that the camera moved. I will explain that as we go through the images. But the results were pretty interesting. I'm not going to say what they were. You're going to have to continue to watch. But the results themselves were pretty interesting. I'm just going to leave it at that. But let's get into reviewing the images, and I will explain as things went on. And let's get to it. Because contrary to what on theory would make sense, a teleconverter actually keeps the same out of focus area ratio as if you're shooting without a teleconverter. It's some crazy super scientifical thing that I don't understand. No idea. Why are you freaking out? You don't like teleconverters? All right, you're afraid of teleconverters. I get it. So let's take a look at a couple images that I got, both with the teleconverter, without the teleconverter. I'm going to crop the non-teleconverter image, and we're going to take a look at the background. So let's take a look at the images. We have the actual image itself, where I was taking a photo of the white card, and just to make sure that there were no anomalies in regards to maybe catching a little bit of one section of a leaf or anything like that. And then within the cropped area, you can see how much blur there is in the background just to the left where the pink area is. And then we have the teleconverter image right after that. As you can see, doing it this way back to back, you don't really notice any difference, but when they're side by side, it's a different story. There is a very slight increase in the amount of blur only on the teleconverter image. And again, I did another scene, and here's the cropped image, and then here's the teleconverter image of the same region. And again, doing another side-by-side comparison, if you look at right up against the wall on the left side, you can see that there is a slight bit more amount of blur only on the teleconverter image, right? But again, it's not 1.4 times the amount of blur compared to what was shot natively within the camera and just the lens and cropping in. You can see that perception-wise, it would be very hard to tell, as you saw with the back-to-back images, when I did one after another, not side by side. You wouldn't really be able to tell a whole heck of a lot of difference. It's not like the same thing as going from, say, a 1.8 lens to an f4, right? That would be a much bigger difference, or a 2.8 to f4 would be a much bigger difference than shooting on the teleconverter versus not shooting on the teleconverter. So there is some weird, crazy, pseudo magic thing happening in regards to how teleconverters render things. And for all the people that are very, very picky, yes, there is a curvature difference in regards to how the field of view is rendered by utilizing the teleconverter. It seems to be more flat, so that kind of gave a slight different perspective, if you want to put it that way, in regards to how the scene actually got put onto the sensor, which is why they look slightly different. It's just the lens curvature itself and the lack of curvature with the teleconverter. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that was interesting. So at the end of the day, yeah, Pentax was pretty close to their thing of the out of focus area remains the same. There's a very, very slight variance where there's a tad bit more blur on the teleconverter image than there is with just the lens, and even like cropped in, you can see there is a very, very slight bit more blur and bokeh on the teleconverter image than there is on the full image. So the aperture, even though the aperture is the same, it's that magnification piece of the teleconverter that does increase a little bit, very minuscule, but it is there. So it's not that it blanketly does not change at all. It does change, but it's honestly so minuscule, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Like, for example, it's not 1.4 times more blur than without the teleconverter. You know what I mean? It's like, what, maybe 0.3 times, if that, 0.1 times, if that. But yeah, this was an interesting experiment. And this is why I always encourage you to let me know what things you'd like me to cover in upcoming videos. I'm doing this for all of you, so it's not just about me. It has never been just about me. It's all for all of you. So let me have it. Tell me what you want to see, and I'll do what I can to make that happen. But that's going to conclude this video. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, then don't leave a like. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And if you want to support the channel, read the description. Everything you need to know is in it. And I will catch you on the next video. And I have something exciting coming. Oh, very exciting. I cannot tell you what it's going to be, but it will be a crazy adventure item for content creators, videographers, photographers, hikers, campers, outdoor adventurers, mountain climbers, the whole nine. This is, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So stay tuned for that. Should be coming up in the next couple weeks or so, hopefully. And as soon as things line up, I'm gonna get that video out. I'm gonna knock it out the park, you know? That didn't work out so well. See, that's what happens when you don't do something for a long time. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out.